Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily NVIDIA report for Thursday, June 5th, 2025. Let's take a look at the charts. It was about, 6 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago tomorrow, that we settled above that descending 5-month channel top that is now well below the market at 99.46. At the time, it indicated for us the low 150s again within 3 to 5 months. Now, this is obviously, we're about 80% of the way there in about 3 to 5 weeks. And in fact, I'm going to zoom in and just show you that there's also a rising channel top that is now above that at 151.59. So this is a range, 150.69 to 151.59. More recently, we closed a couple days ago above the 139.45 Fibonacci. That was a short-term Fibonacci. That was just based on last week's high against last week's low, the two extremes. And having closed above it 2 days ago, that did add and should add bullish continuation, which has been playing out in a very sort of modest way. Now, we have reduced 139.45 to an intraday support, not because we're bearish, but because it is so close now to our rising channel at 135.55. And this is our base of support. As we continue through next week, holding above 135.55 maintains a 1 to 2 week objective in the low 150s. So, in other words, holding above 135.55 should yield our objective at 150.69 over the next week or two. And we do have a sign of that follow-through likelihood with the settlement a couple of days ago above 139.45. The next level to take out to the upside is 143.49. Now, I know we have 143.44 here. That's the February high, but the high that was put out last week is 143.49. And, day traders, we can trade inside of this 139.45 to 143.49 area for a good part of the day, maybe even the entire day. Just know that bullish momentum remains intact into next week above 135.55. So pushing through 143.44 is certainly in the cards today. If we close today above 143.49, we're probably just 2 to 3 days away from reaching our overall objective at 150.69. Where profits can be taken on a long position that may have been established 6 weeks ago, may have been established in the interim, 150.69 is a resistance structure that can contain buying not only through June, but possibly into later summer, possibly, well into the third quarter. We can fall away from here, fall away from the low 150s into what is now 121.39. So we're back to the daily chart, and this shows what I would anticipate if we were to push into the low 150s, long-term resistance. You can not only exit a long position, but you can play the short side here, anticipating then bearish rotation to this rising channel bottom that is presently 121.39 and climbing. The clear signal on weakness for 121.39 would be a settlement below 135.55, and I don't see that today. Upward momentum, near-term upward momentum into next week remains clearly intact above 135.55. Downside, if we break, especially if we open today, Thursday, below 139.45, we can test 135.55 on an intraday basis, where you can buy the market as a 3 to 5 day to 1 to 2 week swing trade, because from here we can round up into the low 150s. If we close below 139.45, we test 135.55 tomorrow if we don't test it today following an intraday violation of 139.45. But, upward momentum is quietly intact above 135.55, and yes, secondarily so with the settlement a couple of days ago above 139.45. As we continue higher, we have 143.49, which is last week's high. So I think I've outlined it pretty well. Our next buy signal short term is, of course, above last week's 143.49 high, and so forth and so on in stair-step fashion up into the low 150s, where profits can be taken on a long position. And I don't, that's a long position that may be a 3 to 5 day swing trade or a 3 to 5 week swing trade, because a 3 to 5 week swing trade can yield off of that 150.69 resistance area, what is now at 121.39 and climbing. So that is a decent 3 to 5 week swing trade to the downside. Now, if over the next week or two we close above 150.69, then if you're short at 150.69, we will tell you should get out, reverse, and go long, because it now looks like the market would anticipate 172.35 as a 1 to 3 month target, depending on volatility. We're not there yet. I'm not predicting it. I don't like to predict. What I do like to do is sell the market in the low 150s because I think the odds then favor the market falling back into the low 120s, as I've already shown. But if we close above 150.69, that idea is obviously incorrect, and you should act on that information by reversing and going long NVIDIA, and then holding that long for the following 3 to 5 weeks, a couple of months, up to 172.35. 172.35 is a significant overhead resistance area that can contain buying through the rest of the year if tested, and I only expect it unless we close above 150.69. Let me cover this one more time. I don't see this today, but if we did close below 135.55, then not only do I see no good reason to be long NVIDIA if your time horizon is over the next week or two, because I would not expect the low 150s over the next week or two. What I would expect is the low 120s. So if we do close today below 135.55, that is your signal to go to short over the 1 to 2 week time frame. 121.31, then 121.39, then a 1 to 2 week objective with a settlement today below 135.55, 121.39, well suited to then contain selling into July, and from here we can round up into the low 150s within a month or two of testing 121.39. But I do not expect 121.39 unless we close below 135.55 or unless we test 150.69. As I've said earlier, then this market can fall away for 3 to 5 weeks back into what is now 121.39 and climbing. I hope that made sense. This week we put out one stock pick. We've got another one coming out today, Thursday. I think a couple of days ago, was it? I want to say Tempest AI, but I think that was last week. I forget these things. My son, who works closely with me, prepares the charts, answers a lot of your emails. He keeps you on track of these stock picks. So when you sign up for wickedstocks.com and you check out our stock picks, you click the stock pick page, individual stock pick page, and you can see all the updates on a week-by-week basis where we apprise you of the location of these key levels to buy or sell against. We also offer daily Triple Q, daily SPY analysis, weekly Apple stock analysis. You can see it all by going to wickedstocks.com and taking advantage of our 5-day free trial. I'll be back tomorrow with Friday's NVIDIA report, and you have a great day.